What is up, Bark Life family? We're here with another one of our crusty Toyotas, because that's what we do, Toyotas. We're with the sc300 $1,000 NAT turbo project, taking it from a lowly NA to a turbo car. Today we're going to discuss why I chose the Super AFC, that sweet little ancient fellow there, instead of a standalone. And we're going to kind of weigh the two and why I picked that for this build and why maybe you should too. Stay tuned and we'll discuss it some more. What is up, guys? It's Nathan the Bark Life. We are here with our sc300 $1,000 project car. We have a bunch of videos. I have probably 10 videos that I'm in the process of editing for this channel. I just haven't gotten it done. Biggest reason why is life. I got the new job and I've been doing project after project after project in our house and everything else. I am still working on the cars. Any of you guys that don't follow the shorts, the turbo's in, we've driven it, it's awesome. So cool to have a turbo JZ around again. We just got the Super AFC installed with all the electronics, the wideband, everything like that. And I have a million questions off of the shorts, people asking me, why did you go with that? Why aren't you going standalone? Why aren't you doing this? Blah, 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 blah. People don't even know what a piggyback is anymore. Like, no idea. So basically, you have a standalone. That's where you remove your stock computer and you put a brand new computer in, like an AEM, ECU Masters, Pro EFI. All these different companies make solutions where you are replacing your entire computer system for your car. What a piggyback does is it basically tricks your car. It's not as good, but on a budget, it's amazing. And with the sc300, we set ourselves at a $1,000 budget for everything. So that was full turbo kit, downpipe, getting the exhaust welded, everything. As we've covered in other videos here, we wanted to make sure that we did it in a way that the average Joe can afford. We already did the Supra. We have a standalone, big turbo, blah, 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 blah. Front face intake manifold, big injectors, big fuel pumps, the whole bit. Supra's got it. SC, the idea behind it was something your average guy is going to do. Something I would have built when I was 18 years old and trying to do a budget kit. So exactly as I did. I had, various parts that we sourced from all different walks of life. Like, the turbo was off of one of our old builds. The manifold was off of eBay, just a generic one. All the parts came from other people's builds and old stuff that people had retired, and we bought all the parts. And we got a turbo car behind us. Spectacular. It's a 2JZ. It's got 280,000 miles. It's the worst case scenario in every regard as far as reliability and all longevity and everything else. But I've done enough of these. I'm confident this thing is still going to run for a long time as it is. If not, we got an extra motor there. And for those of you guys that didn't see, we picked up a manual trans for this SC. But again, I want to keep it auto and leave it as is for now. Just so that we can improve the reliability of this stock platform, this non-turbo stock platform. But one thing we wanted to cover was that Apexi. What's the deal with the Apexi? Why did I get an Apexi? So it's a Super AFC 2. Basically, the way it works is it reads your knock sensor. It reads your, it intercepts your signal from your hot wire or air fuel meter. So this is a hot wire style sensor. So if you have an sc300, 96 and newer have that style sensor. 96 and older, so the half generation, have the big block aluminum style. Same basic concept. I tend to like the hot wires better. But whatever. Either way, you can turbo it. Either way, I've turboed both. This is probably my 13th or 14th 2JZ that we've turboed. So basically it intercepts the 5-volt signal that comes off of this, which tells your computer how much air is entering the motor. What happens then is basically it takes the readings, and then you have your air fuel meter, all that stuff hooked up. you determine what you want it at based on RPM. And so you intercept that signal that's coming from this, and this motor is ready to run on non-turbo. So it wants to run a naturally aspirated fuel curve. So what we do is we intercept that signal, and then we send a different signal out to the computer, so the computer thinks either it needs more fuel or less fuel. The best way to do this is to increase the size of your injector. So go with a bigger injector and then tell the motor you're getting less air than you are. That way, when it's trying to calculate for the 300 and whatever 80 cc, I don't remember what the stock injectors are, but when it's trying to correct for that small injector, you put a 550 or 650 or whatever in there, you're pulling fuel out. And so at idle, you're really going to have to pull fuel out. But as you get into boost, it tends to, depending on the size of injector and everything else, it tends to be kind of closer to on point in boost. This does not correct for timing. So on the JZ, you still are going to run into issues with your timing, which is a concern because timing is a big deal on boost. But the Apexi also monitors knock. So you have the ability to tell if your motor is detonating or anything like that on the knock sensor as well. So if you're getting knock voltage, either you need to add more fuel, add more timing, or pull some boost out. One of those things. More timing equals more detonation. More boost, more detonation. More heat, more detonation. This particular motor, as you can see, I still have the stock intake manifold. So you have the turbo intake manifolds crossing right over that. Does that make sense? So it's heating that charge up. If you guys watched our MR2 turbo build, you saw how we wrapped that in heat tape and tried to cover up that turbo as much as we could to stop it from soaking up all that heat. Anyways, we're going to end up getting a turbo blanket for this guy, and we might upgrade the turbo. Right now, we're just trying to stay with that $1,000 turbo kit. We want to see how it does and go from there, but we're probably going to end up wrapping the downpipe and putting a turbo blanket on all those goodies. We have some bigger injectors we're going to throw in there. But basically, back to the Super AFC, it intercepts that signal and it changes it, alters it based on whether you add or remove. And I'll show you guys how to tune it when I actually get to that point. We have it all installed, so I guess let's plug our handy dandy terminal back in here. Boom, what's up? And we can show you kind of what we got going on here. So this is the basics on any turbo kit. So this is bare budget. This is what it takes. Sorry, this is brutal, but all right. So we're in the car, and these gauges. So you have your wideband. So that tells us how much air fuel mixture there is. So if we kick it on, oh yeah, I got that rolling. And then over here we have our boost gauge. Tells us how much boost we're actually running. So that's our air fuel meter. And then down here is our little Apexi programmer. And that's a Super AFC 2. The benefits of the Super AFC 2 is they introduced DCell Air. So when you're coming off of boost and you let off on a motor that's not designed to have all that air that's already been metered, basically what it allows you to do is tune out for whoosh, you get that sweet blow-off valve noise, all the air escapes, your motor runs too rich, and the car stalls because you're flooding it out. What DCell Air does is allows you to pull fuel out as you vent to atmosphere. So as your blow-off valve vents the air, it pulls fuel out as it decells. It allows you to tune out that stuff where you have that excess fuel in the system as it decells. So basically, that's going to allow us to... this requires very few wires. You splice into a few wires. You cut one wire, power, ground, that sort of thing. This guy runs a sensor, so a new wideband sensor into your engine. Do not do narrowband. So when you're getting a O2 sensor, get a wideband. It's much more accurate, and it's going to give you want an actual readout. So 15.5, basically atmospheric. And that's how much unburnt fuel is coming out, basically. Boost on a stock JZ without anything done, no head gasket, no nothing, just some injectors, a piggyback. You're safe to run between 10 and 12 pounds. Do this at your own risk. You blow your motor, it's not my fault, it's your fault. But I've run 10, 12 pounds. I've ran 14 pounds on a stock head gasket. With the compression, without a way to control the ignition timing, anything over 12 is really, really pushing it. with that being said, there's people, oh, I run 20 pounds. Okay, that's fine. You could be a unicorn. I don't particularly want to blow this car up super fast, so we're going to leave it alone. We're probably going to put it at 10 pounds. It'll make it a hoot danny. I mean, even 10 pounds, the car is going to feel completely woke up, especially once we do the manual trans swap. But yeah, the biggest thing here is being conservative. Take your time. If you don't have injectors, you need to keep that boost at 5 or 6 pounds. Definitely, you need the wideband, you need the boost gauge, and you need a way to control your fuel at minimum. And you really need a fuel pump. That fuel pump, anything over like 5 or 6 pounds, you're capping out the factory non-turbo fuel pump. You can get a TT fuel pump, you can get a Walbro 255, you can get the 500, doesn't matter. Anything 255 or above, there's a lot of options out there. Fuel pumps are inexpensive. Injectors aren't terribly expensive. It's good to get some drop-ins because you don't have to hassle with it. But realistically, if you're shopping around and take your time, we did this entire turbo kit, less injectors. We haven't bought our injectors. We did it for about $750 for the whole, everything you see. That's including the wideband, this sweet Harbor Freight, this Piggyback, the whole thing. So yeah, we got about $750 into it total. No big deal. And that's where we like to be. Like $750 to turbo this. I like that a lot. It's not going to be the fanciest setup. You're without being able to control timing and stuff. Your boost is a little more lethargic coming on. You have less tunability when it comes to the injectors. There's only so far you can push the stock computer before it really starts hiccuping. So you have to be careful. But with that being said, basically my point is there's a lot of options out there. If you're doing a turbo kit like this, think outside the box. This is how we did it in the early 2000s, late 90s. Piggyback was where you started. That's where everybody started. Nowadays, everybody just kind of goes to standalone, which is fine if you have, $2,000 to dump on standalone. That's great. If you don't, this is another option. I talk to people every day. I mean, I'm talking with, anywhere from 15 to 20 different people a day about their car, about their turbo builds, whatever, and trying to give them advice and help them point in the right direction. No, Super AFC is not the best option out there. There's a million things that are better. And if you have a couple grand to drop on them, do it. By all means. There's also better everything. Like this turbo, I could have got a better turbo. But again, it comes back to that video where Ed and I were talking. Why are you building it? Are you building it to be a parts contest winner? If so, just go get the newest, the greatest, spend the $100,000 and get it. If you're trying to compete, there's always someone that's better. If you're just trying to have fun, this is a great way to do it. I mean, I've already had a blast with this car when it was stock. Now it's turboed. Now it's getting manualed. Like, I feel spoiled on this budget build that we're going to get to do so much with it. I couldn't have dreamed of doing this much when I was first doing it, like first building cars. Like we would turbo our little Hondas. We'd have shoestring budgets, $300-$400 to do everything. And then back then we didn't even have the Super FC was fancy. We'd do just a rising rate fuel pressure regulator. So as you go into boost, it kicks your fuel pressure up, adding more fuel, squeezing more fuel out of those stock injectors. Fortunately with this, we're going to run the Super AFC, go with some probably 650s or something, or better injectors. We already got the fuel pump installed, the Walbro. But yeah, the Super AFC is just another option. Super simple to wire in. It took me about an hour total. We wired in this guy. This is just a couple wires, power and ground. Run the wires through the ECU firewall there for the O2 sensor, up and out. And then this guy is run a vacuum line and a power and ground. Super simple. Nothing. I mean, if you can wire up a car stereo, you can wire this stuff up. It's not hard. I have an old diagram. If you guys are interested, message me, hit me up. Maybe I'll do a video on basic wiring. I have two more of these Super AFCs. One we were considering putting in the MR2. I'm not sure if we're going to do that or go standalone. And then one I'm going to end up selling. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. I just thought I'd do this video because I keep getting questions asked. Why? Because this is the most affordable way to do it, and I wanted to build something that the average Joe can afford. Most people, if they're saving up, you can scrounge $1,000 together. Try, if you're doing this, to get a daily driver. This was a mistake I made when I was younger. I would always take my primary car and turbo it. Yeah, it's fun until you're walking to work. I had to walk like 8 miles to work once. and because I was turboing it, I didn't get the parts in time, and I didn't get it done in time, and then I had to get to work. Nobody could give me a ride, so I was walking 8 miles. Don't do that. Be smarter than me. But basically, my point being is there's a lot of options out there. Super AFC, Gretty E-Manage. There's a bunch of different piggybacks that are available. They plug in. They're super simple, super easy to tune. As soon as you get the basic concepts of what it takes to tune, and we'll go over a little bit of that if you guys are interested. I'll show you kind of the process that it takes to tune the motor with an Apexi Super AFC. It's really straightforward. Take this all at your own risk, though. If you blow up your motor because it's easy to do, that's on you. There's a lot of factors that go into this, and I'm not saying that everybody should do this, but I'm just saying I'm showing you what I could do with what I got. If it blows up, it blows up, but I've done this 1,000 times as a kid, never had a problem. Done it in my adult life, never had a problem. Here we are. We're in our $600 sc300 with a $750 turbo kit. Once we do the injectors, it'll be over $1,000. But yeah, we have a whole build here. $1,600 total build, and I'm hoping to get the car into the 13s. That's pretty spectacular. 13s for $1,600 with everything. That's everything. Car, everything. Maybe more like $1,800 if you count registration and tax and all that. But under $2,000 for everything, including the car. And this sweet steering wheel. If you guys haven't seen that yet, check that video out. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this. And I just want to show you a different option other than just going standalone. Standalone's great because you get to control everything. But there are piggyback options out there. They're old. They're a little bit clumsy. But if you're trying to do something on a budget, it doesn't matter if there's a $2,000 standalone you can get. If you can't afford it, it doesn't matter. This is a great way to have fun. Try not to do it on your primary car because you're going to end up breaking it. And that's the way the cookie crumbles. If you break it, you fix it and you rebuild it. But yeah, there we are, guys. I hope this was somewhat helpful. And I really appreciate the support and all you guys sharing. Yeah, we're working our way towards 2,000 subscribers. We're going to get there. And yeah, I just really appreciate all the feedback. And I love getting all your guys' messages on Facebook and everything else. Check out our TikTok. It's Bark Life on there as well. Instagram, all that. But yeah, thanks, guys, and stay tuned.